Okay folks, here is another 10-minute review of a game from another one of my students, Ed, who's 18Q and been playing Go for about 9 months, and another 16Q on OGS. So this is going to be very fast again. We're not going to look at lots of variations, but we're looking for the big points, the big ideas about how we can improve our Go and how we can improve our game. So let's get into it. So here's the opening. Ed is black, so we're focusing on the black moves and good and bad moves by black. So 4-4 corner, it's just fine. 4-4 opposite by white, perfect. Upper left, parallel fuseki, we like this, so great by black, and then white. Okay, black gets an approach move anywhere on the board. It's black sente. By sente, and this is a really important point in this review, is sente is vital, particularly in the opening, when we're trying to deploy our forces faster and more efficiently than our opponent. So black makes an approach to the upper left corner, and I would expect to see white respond to that. I would expect white to back off, but white just develops along the lower side. And then here's the first mistake by Ed. Ed plays this move, and this move is just way too small for the opening, because what's going to happen next is that white, under normal circumstances, would hane here, and maybe black would come down here and white would come here. So white's got some points in that corner and has secured that corner, and black's really not got much out of this. Black could then take a sente move and develop something like this. So, but what I'd say to you, Ed, at this point, you've played that stone. It's your sente. You can play anywhere on the board. And one of the things that I learned and I love from Nick Sibicky's Go videos, he gave me the idea of a piece of cake. That a Go board is a piece of cake, and you're looking for the biggest slices of cake. And on this Go board, right now, between these two stones here is a huge slice of cake. Between here is a huge slice of cake. And actually, if you want to mess with your opponent, here is a huge slice of cake, and there's some potential here. So these are all two directional, that's one direction. So that's where I'm looking on the Go board at that point. And when you played here, I just kind of went, no, what's wrong with going for a big slice of cake like this one, or making a base for your stones here like that one, big slice of cake, or just coming in. This is a natural one, and I'm going to teach you this one and come back to you guys. This is called the double approach Giuseki. When we do a night move approach like this to our opponent's 4-4 and they tanuki, they ignore us, then rather than attaching and making them strong, we don't attach and keep them weak, and now our little buddy on Q16 is outnumbered 2-1 and has got to fight for life. So that's another big move. So I want you just to understand that, particularly in the opening, there are lots and lots of big moves and more. Go for those big slices of cake and don't do the little moves. Okay, so this is what happened in the game. So now as Ed has played 3 in that corner, and white takes a big stone on the a big point on the left. Black takes the base away, and I think this is just great. I think this is great. This is perfect, but it's one too far, and this is a really subtle point here. But the natural point that this white stone would like to extend to on the third line is 2 spaces away. We know that. We know that. We've seen this shape before. 2 stones on the third line are pretty much alive, and so of course the point that black should extend to is exactly the point that white wants, and that will drive white away in the other way, and then black can seal out the corner, white comes up, and black makes the territory. And this is a much better result for black. So although the idea was right, Ed, when you came here, it was one too far. It was just one too far, and white made this shape. And then you came here, and paradoxically, and you're going to kill me for this, this is one too short, because actually after you play this, white gets this really nice move, and I think we've talked about this before. We call this the car shape. It's because the 2 stones there are the wheels, and the triangled stone is the racing car driver's head at the back. And so this move lets your opponent make really nice shape like that, and we don't want our opponent to make nice shape. We want them to have bad shape. So that's what was going on there. Okay, so let's just go back up. So you came there, and white's out on top of you, and then you backed away, and again, well, the problem with this is it leaves a cutting point. if white plays here, which is a great shape for white because it's a tiger mouth, then you're going to have to fix this cutting point. And so that's why that's why when we're faced with, so let's not jump about too much, this kind of move, the Giuseki is we back off. And now we have no cutting point. We've connected our cutting point because we've got a Kasumi relationship, a diagonal relationship between these two, and these two are strong in a Nobi. Do you see the difference, how our stones are now strong? And in this situation, you could even afford to push once because white will probably block it and then go back and fix the Kasumi. And these stones now are undermining, these two triangle stones, particularly this one, are undermining the eye space in this area. Okay. Let's go back up to the game and what happened next. So here we have these exchanges. Black created this shape which leaves cutting points. White took another big territory. This is a big slice of cake by white. White's grabbing that right hand side. Great move by black. Really, really, really good move. Developing the top side. White goes, wow, I'm going to take the center and I want the whole lower right quadrant of the board to be mine. And again, black is to say, what's the biggest move on the board? And this is great. This is developing the lower left-hand corner. It's preventing white developing that huge moyo any further. Points on the board are about equal at the moment, and white does this. This shape is called the iron pillar. It's two stones on the third and fourth line, sometimes second and third line, but third and fourth is good. That are solidly connected. You can't get under it. You cannot get under it because you'll get cut off and harned, and it's quite difficult to get out of it. But what Ed plays is this one, and this is okay because I think no, white doesn't even respond. The direction of play is, because you can't get out of this, is this one: jump up. And by jumping up is you're helping secure this area of the territory. And okay, fair enough, it's not as big as this area of territory, this big box here, but it's pretty solid. In fact, it's more solid because of the distance that exists between these stones and these stones. Your stones are tighter, so therefore your stones are stronger, and so that will be a much better move. So you come down here, this is a slack move, doesn't achieve anything, doesn't really develop anything, and white takes the point that you should have been on. White actually takes the point that you wanted. You come back here, not a great move again, I'm afraid, Ed, because this creates what we call an elephant eye. And the elephant eye is when you do this big double triangular jump between these two, your opponent can just barge through, and I would almost immediately, if somebody plays an elephant eye, I would ram straight in between it, and then it's saying to your opponent, well, which stones, if you come this way, I'm going to just keep pushing, and if you're going to come this way, I'm going to keep pushing. If you come here, then I'm going to turn. The elephant eye is bad. The elephant eye is bad. White comes out, so what white is doing is building this territory on the right hand side. Black comes up and attaches, and again, I don't like the attachment move very much. I much prefer this one, so that we get a nice knight move relationship between all of these stones. We've still got the elephant eye there to deal with, but the stones are working together. Remember, keep reminding yourself that if you attach to a stone, you make it stronger. So we only ever want to attach to strong stones. We don't want to attach to weak stones because we make them stronger. Attaching makes things stronger. So white continues to develop that territory. White's trying to play a big territory game here. My question has got to be at this point, is that the biggest move that you could possibly play? Is that the most spacious and urgent move? Because you know exactly what's going to happen now. White's going to play here, and then this move is also bad. You descend, and the problem with the descent is that when white descends, you then have to go back and fix. So after this, the answer for black is just go directly to the fix. Don't mess with the other stuff, because of now it gives you a kind of sente, because white has got to protect this cutting point here. But again, I'd have to say at this point, Ed, invade the 3-3. We know there's a Giuseki here. White will choose. White will probably choose to protect the big area of territory. You come here, white, 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 black, white, black, white, black. and white seals you in, and you have to play a protective move there. You just carve out the territory, you carve out the corner. So those kind of invasion opportunities that are only there for a very short period in the game cannot, in no stretch of imagination, can that be a serious move. And what about this one instead in terms of territory? Much, much bigger. Big pieces of cake. We want big slice, chunky slice of cake. We love cake, and we want more than our opponent. Okay, so let's just run back to the game. So this was the exchange of sequence. So white gets the centre, and there's that turn that I mentioned earlier. I didn't know that was coming, but I could see the bad shape, and so black has to fix the shape, and white goes down, and then black Ataris, and this is fine, and white connects, and black comes out. Now this is good because black is building this space on the top side of the board, the whole top side, 3 lines there at 19. That's 50-60 points, huge area of the board. And white does this. Now if you're continuing consistency in approach here, the stone, the space, the point on the board that should be screaming out to you is this one, to protect what you're building in there, to protect that territory and keep that territory protected. This attachment, attaching to a weak stone, notice how weak that white stone, the J14 stone, it's got no friends around it, it's out on its own. By attaching it, you make it stronger. This is a weird move by white that should be punished by black simply connecting at K15, because when you chose to play K14 as opposed to this one, you said, oh, actually I'm not so interested in the territory in the corner and on the top, I want to break into the side, and it's a bit slow for that. When white does this, then you've got to stay with your plan, and the plan says I want to break into the center, and so you connect here. And this is what my friend Jervis called maintenance of aim. So here you come this way, suddenly you go, actually I want the top, so you've suddenly switched ideas halfway through this game, and you kind of gone, actually I want to the center, no I don't, I want the top. So white wedges in, and then you come the other side, and you've suddenly, and then white cuts you off, and suddenly these two guys are floating, lost inside what's potentially white's territory, and then and white has got access out into your territory. You block your territory, white comes around these two, you try and save them, but it's all horrible and forlorn. They're way too deep in enemy territory, and there they go. Okay, I'm going to stop there. There's some more to be had out of this game, but the two key things that I want you to grasp from this one is about big pieces of cake in the opening. The fuseki is all about getting those big slices of lovely cream and strawberry cake onto your plate, and that's what you're doing. And these moves, some of these moves were too small, and some of them were just a little bit overplays. By overplays I mean this one here was an overplay, that's an overplay, weirdly that one was an underplay. Overplays and underplays. This was the wrong direction of play, and that was the vital move that actually black needed. Okay, I'm going to stop there to keep that a 10-minute review. See you guys soon. Thanks for that, and bye for now.